Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams and elected leaders demand accountability from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, after a 26-year-old Gravesend resident was shot during an arrest. According to media reports, Erick Diaz was shot in the face at his home on West 12th Street near Quentin Road around 8 o'clock Thursday morning, February 6th, during an altercation with ICE agents who were seeking to arrest another individual. Borough President Adams held a press conference outside Maimonides Medical Center in Brooklyn.
Borough President Eric Adams, and as many of us, we are truly concerned over what happened yesterday here. I'm joined by Pastor Salgado, who has been a part of much of what we're doing around the immigrant population in this borough and throughout the city, as well as Assemblyman Felix Ortiz, who represents much of the Sunset Park area. There's a couple of things that's important to us. Number one, we don't want this young man, Abadando Hernandez, turned over to ICE. We would like for him to be released back to the city and let him remain here, something that we've asked for several times before. And we want to be clear that we don't believe ICE should be in our schools, our hospitals, our courtrooms. We don't believe that's a place for ICE. This is a sanctuary city, and we want to make sure that that sanctuary city mindset is carried out. Also, want to point out the New York City Police Department methods of policing has evolved after years and years of fighting for reforms, fighting to ensure that proper police practices take place. There has been years of on-the-ground work to bring about the type of policing we want, and one of the most important aspects of policing in the city now is video surveillance, also called body cameras. Every law enforcement agency in this city should have a body camera. ICE should not be allowed to move throughout this city without a body camera to see what they're doing while they're here in this city. We should not have to wonder what happened and what actions took place. This young man was released on a forged license plate. A forged license plate should not give ICE the license to shoot someone, an innocent person. And it is imperative that there's a thorough investigation to determine exactly what took place. This was a deportation warrant. Did they have the right to go in and do a forceful removal? What happens inside that apartment? How did it take place? That is what we want to get at the heart of and ensure that the person responsible for the discharge of that weapon is held accountable. Shame on ICE to attempt to blame the New York City Police Department for their action. NYPD did not shoot a young man. ICE shot that young man, and so to any way indicate in their press advisory that it is the fault of the police department for their action, shame on them for attempting to do so. Shame on them for attempting to cover up the behavior of their officers. This is what we have been afraid of when we talk about having ICE in our city. How we move this department to have effective practices in policing cannot be turned around by federal agencies that come into the city, such as ICE, without any form of proper interacting in a diverse city such as New York City. That is why we don't want ICE in our courts. We don't want ICE in our schools. We don't want ICE in our hospitals. We don't want ICE to carry out their actions in the manner in which they do so. If we're holding the New York City Police Department to a high standard, we want every federal agency that police our city to be held to the same standard, and that includes the state police as well. And so I want to turn it over to Assemblyman Ortiz, who represents the Sunset Park area, and then Pastor Salgado.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Borough President. I do represent this side of the district. This is my line right here on the other side, for those of you who would like to know. But this is a very sad day, not just for our folks in Brooklyn and for the people in my district and the people across New York State, but it's very unfortunate incident also that sent a very bad signal throughout this country. I never thought that this will be happening where we are. I never thought that this kind of action by ICE will be happening in our district, in our community, and specifically in our state. Being a sanctuary city in New York does not allow ICE to come over and do whatever the hell they want. I think it's very important to recognize and to say this, that ICE have to respond to the family, to our community, and to the people of the state of New York. I cannot be more agree with the Borough President. I can't. You know, the Borough President hit it right on. Those body cameras has to be determined and has to be mandated for every ICE agent to wear. And we would like to see any kind of video or any kind of evidence that they have to justify that they had to pull a trigger. How in the hell they're gonna pull a trigger to an innocent man who had not even a gun, not even a knife, nothing in their possession? This is a tactic, this is a practice that ICE continue to do throughout this country. And we as a Hispanic continue to be the biggest target. Our community continue to be our target throughout this country. So we are standing here today to say three things. Number one, we really are standing up to make sure that this man would not be deported today. We demand that this young man be turned back to the city of New York and go back to their family. Number two, we asking ICE to get the hell out of city of New York and the state of New York as soon as they can, and do not bother our family and bring tension and anxiety in our school, in our churches, and in hospital. I can't even believe that the freaking ICE are right there behind me in the hospital watching this little victim that they took down yesterday. And number three, the community will continue to stand up to make sure that we do what is right, to demand a whole full investigation on this agent who pulled the trigger against this innocent man. Es un placer para mí estar aquí con el presidente del condado de Brooklyn. No puede estar más en desacuerdo de las palabras que él utilizó y que dijo. Son tres puntos bien importantes porque estamos aquí esta mañana. Número uno, queremos estar seguros de que esta persona se quede aquí en nuestra comunidad y sea dado a su familia y no deportado. Segundo, queremos estar seguros de que ICE no interfiera con nuestras escuelas, con nuestras iglesias y con nuestros hospitales, y que a la misma vez entienda de que esto es una ciudad santuario. Y número tres, queremos estar seguros de que llamamos por una investigación a nivel federal y a nivel estatal para que se declare toda evidencia que ellos tengan y que las traigan a la vista pública, no solamente para su familia, pero para también nuestras comunidades, a ver qué fue lo que sucedió aquí. Porque ICE no tiene la razón y la racionalización de por qué utilizar un arma de fuego para dispararle a una persona inocente que está completamente desarmada. Esto es un insulto para nuestra comunidad, esto continúa siendo un ataque a nuestra comunidad y esperamos que tengamos soluciones positivas pronto.
Good morning, my name is Reverend Erick Salgado. I represent the biggest Spanish church in the community. This happened only 4 blocks away from our church. I want to thank Borough President Eric Adams to come forward for the Hispanic community, also Assemblyman Felix Ortiz. South Brooklyn is one of the most quietest community that we have in Brooklyn and in the entire city. I have been working with this community for over 25 years. And it's pathetic to know that one of the most quiet cities where crime have been kept down by the police officer, which I also want to thank. They called me right away when this incident happened. We have a shooting, but not by criminals, but by ICE. First of all, this community is very quiet. They're very hardworking people. This is not El Paso, Texas. They're not trying to smuggle in. These people live in the city. They are part of our community. This is a different scenario. And I have been receiving a lot of phone calls from members of my church saying that they're getting the door knocked 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. And you can understand that when you receive an unexpected visit at that early in the morning, you are in shock. And first of all, they didn't identify themselves well. They just assumed that everybody is supposed to open the door and say, take us away. The person who got shot was not the person that was going to come to be apprehended by the immigration officer. It was somebody else. And this happening continuously in our community. I get the phone call. I don't know. I don't care what other people say, that it's not happening, that it's not bad, but it's happening. I have over 1,000 members in this community, and most of them are from Mexico and Guatemala, and they're peaceful people. It's a shame that the incident of violence that happened, it didn't came from the criminal, it came from a government agent. Mi nombre es el reverendo Erick Salgado, represento a la Iglesia Jóvenes Cristianos de la comunidad de Bensonhurst y Gravesend. Tenemos más de 1,000 miembros y la mayoría son de la comunidad guatemalteca y mexicana. He estado trabajando por los últimos 25 años y he podido experimentar en los últimos años constantes quejas de miembros que vienen y les tocan la puerta a las 5 de la mañana, a las 6 de la mañana. Y yo creo que cuando usted recibe una visita inesperada a las 5 o 6 de la mañana, lo menos que usted puede esperar es un caos. Usted no sabe quién le está tocando la puerta y no se identifican correctamente. Ellos asumen que cuando tocan la puerta las personas tienen que abrir y decir y dejar que ellos hagan lo que ellos quieren. Esta persona no estaba armada, ni siquiera era la persona que vino a ser arrestada. Fue un joven de apenas 24 años que no estaba armado y ellos le dispararon en la cara. No hay ninguna justificación para esto, debe haber una investigación. Creo que esto es un ataque a la comunidad hispana. Nosotros somos las víctimas y tenemos que mantenernos activos en estos movimientos civiles. No podemos permitir que los hispanos, tal vez porque sea la comunidad que más está creciendo, sea víctima del gobierno federal. Este no es El Paso, Texas, esto es Nueva York. Esta gente no están tratando de entrar a esta ciudad, esta gente ya vive en esta ciudad y tienen familia en esta ciudad. Le pedimos a ICE que inmediatamente cambien sus tácticas y cambien su sistema de trabajar y respeten a toda la comunidad hispana y a toda la comunidad en general de la ciudad de Nueva York. Erick Adams, once again, thank you for coming forward for the Hispanic, and let's pray that everything goes from bad to good for this unfortunate family. We request that they could stay over here in the United States, and we will be praying for them and hoping that all this action could help them to remain here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah. We're going to speak with the hospital personnel when we break up here, and some of the community residents that are here that are communicating with the family. They could give you exact status of my understanding. It's a non-life-threatening injury and a gunshot wound to the face. It could have been extremely more severe, but there's a lot of misunderstanding. And answering your question about ICE is giving an interpretation of what had happened inside the house. That is why, again, we're stating we could remove the question if we have ICE, as they move any place, to have the same video surveillance that police officers are required to have. We shouldn't be wondering what happened. In a day of technology, we should know exactly what happened.
You mentioned video body cameras, but what are the
And that's what we need. We're going to reach out to Senator Gillibrand and Senator Schumer's office, as well as our congressional delegation, because the reforms that we have put in place here in the city, you don't hear those forms anywhere. A few months ago, you saw a federal agent shot a dog in the Windsor Terrace section. We don't know what is happening on our streets with our federal agencies. And it is time for what we have done here in the city that took years of reform. We need to now bring our federal agencies under that same level of scrutiny. And out of this terrible, horrific incident, I believe is an opportunity to start addressing those issues.